Imagine a flea. This tiny creature carries a deadly secret, the bacterium Yersinia pestis. It is almost invisible to the naked eye, yet it holds the power to decimate entire populations. It hitches a ride on a rat, its true terror hidden. The rat, an unsuspecting carrier, moves silently through the shadows. The rat scurries onto a merchant ship, bound for Europe. These ships are the lifelines of trade, connecting distant lands. The year is 1347. Europe is thriving, unaware of the impending doom. No one suspects the horror to come. Life goes on as usual, with markets bustling and people busy with their daily routines. The ships arrive in bustling ports. They bring goods from far-off lands, treasures that excite the townsfolk. They carry silks, spices, and death. Hidden among the valuable cargo are the seeds of a catastrophe. The rats disembark, bringing plague-infested fleas. The fleas bite people. Each bite is a death sentence, spreading the plague with terrifying speed. People sicken, they die. The once vibrant towns are now filled with the stench of death. The Black Death has arrived. The first symptom is a painful swelling. A bubo, fever rages. Victims cough blood. Death comes in days. Fear spreads like wildfire. No one is safe. Rich and poor, young and old, all succumb. The plague knows no boundaries, sparing no one in its path. The Black Death shows no mercy. It is an equalizer, bringing the high and mighty to their knees. It cuts a deadly swathe through Europe. The continent is forever changed, its history marked by this dark chapter. Across Europe, despair reigns. The once bustling streets are now filled with an eerie silence, broken only by the cries of the suffering. Streets are littered with bodies. The dead outnumber the living, and the survivors are left to fend for themselves in a world turned upside down. The stench of death hangs heavy in the air. Mass graves overflow. The plague moves quickly, leaving no time for proper burials or mourning. It spreads along trade routes through towns and cities. Merchants and travelers unknowingly carry the disease to new regions. It reaches into villages, leaving no corner untouched. Even the most remote areas are not spared from the devastation. 1/3 of Europe's population perishes. Families are torn apart and communities are left in ruins. 25 million souls lost in a few short years. The scale of the tragedy is almost beyond comprehension. The scale of the disaster is unimaginable. The world shrinks. Communities that once thrived are now ghost towns. People fear contact with each other. Travel slows, trade collapses. The social fabric of Europe is torn apart. Europe is brought to its knees. The continent reels from the impact, forever changed by the plague's relentless march. The Black Death reshapes society. The old order crumbles. Feudalism, the system of lords and serfs, weakens with so many dead. Labor becomes scarce. Peasants gain bargaining power. They demand better wages and conditions. Some flee their feudal obligations. The church, once a pillar of stability, is shaken. Its explanations for the plague ring hollow. People question its authority. New religious movements emerge. The plague also fuels prejudice. Outsiders, foreigners, and minorities are blamed for the disease. Persecution and violence increase. Section 4. Economic disorder. The Black Death wreaks havoc on the European economy. Trade networks collapse. Cities, once centers of commerce, become ghost towns. Agricultural production plummets. Fields lie fallow. Food shortages become commonplace. Prices skyrocket. The scarcity of labor leads to innovation. New technologies such as the printing press emerge. These innovations will eventually transform Europe. The plague also disrupts traditional patterns of inheritance. With entire families wiped out, land and wealth change hands. Section 5. A changed world. The Black Death leaves an indelible mark on Europe, altering the course of history in ways that are still felt today. Entire villages are wiped out, and the social fabric of medieval society is torn apart. It is a turning point in history, a moment when the old world begins to crumble, making way for the new. The medieval world, with its rigid social structures and stagnant economy, gives way to a new era. The Renaissance emerges, bringing with it a wave of innovation, art, and science. The power of the church declines as people begin to question long-held beliefs and seek new answers. The seeds of the Renaissance, with its emphasis on humanism and reason, are sown. Thinkers like Leonardo da Vinci and other scholars start to explore the world in new ways. The plague also has a profound impact on art and literature. Artists begin to reflect the harsh realities of their time, capturing the sorrow and despair that pervades society. Images of death and decay become commonplace as the omnipresence of mortality influences creative expression. The fragility of life becomes a central theme, reminding everyone of the transient nature of existence. The Black Death is a stark reminder of the power of nature, a force that can upend human